Throughout the Legend of Zelda series, there is no other game that is more cheerful and lively than The Legend of Zelda: The Wind Waker. A colorful game that many people did not first enjoy, but grew attached to shortly later, and for good reasons. This gave Link more emotions and more of a purpose to go on his adventure, for saving his younger sister and try to help his new friends that he meets on the way. However, with this cheerful and colorful game, there are a few dark secrets that lies around the Great Sea. And in this episode of Let's Talk Zelda, I, the Hyrule Historian, will be going over a few of these mysteries and go into more depth where these mysteries would have began and what they could truly hold. So grab a hold of your sail and your Wind Waker, and it's time to sail out on a new adventure. So let's get this adventure started. Now when it comes to the first mystery, it's a little bit more closer to home, so this means it takes place on Outset Island, the first island that you start on, and this is where your grandma and all your neighbors live, all your other family members, your sister. However, when it comes to Outset Island, it has its own dark secrets. However, when it comes to the different landmarks on Outset, we not only have the Great Fairy's Fountain within the woods on top of the mountain, but we also have a secret cave where Jaboon can hide within the back of the island. Now, when it comes to the village, your grandmother and the two old men would be most likely the oldest members of the island. However, with this said, it is also shown that on each door is a marking, which this mark is not really ever explained, and it's not even shown within the post office within Dragon Roost where the Rito are. Saying this, if you look to the back of your grandmother's house, you will also find a giant stone rock within the form of a face. This is actually hiding the Savage Labyrinth, which is directly behind your grandmother's house. But why is this here? This Savage Labyrinth was meant for the hero, and it would hide the hero's charm within one version of the game, and just a heart piece in another. However, with this said, it is also known that the Great Fairy and Jaboon could be watching over this island. But the dark secret is, why is it here? Why is it on the island where Link lives along with his family? Whoever thought that the hero would be raised on Outset? Now with this said, the symbols on the door to the houses could also resemble another form of the Sheikah. However, the Sheikah are no longer seen within Wind Waker since they have long been lost. However, there is a theory that Miss Marie, the teacher on Windfall, could be connected to the Sheikah. Besides that, when we look back at Outset Island, it's more likely that the Great Fairy and a guardian of some sort was watching over these people because they knew that Link was actually here, and that the Savage Labyrinth was placed here because they knew of Link's destiny, such as the Great Deku Tree knowing Link's destiny within Ocarina of Time. Now, the one last thing that when it comes to this mystery is that the two old men, Orca and his brother, who teaches you the tutorial, also teaches you the Hurricane Spin, which was passed down through royal knights of Hyrule. So this would have meant that both of the brothers were once knights, and they are passing down their techniques to Link and to future generations. So, could Outset Island really be the last place where the last few knights who served the royal family lived, along with any other members who helped the royal family? And could this be the reason why Link's grandmother carries down the legend of the Hero of Time? Now we are going to be sailing out from Outset Island and heading to our next mystery, which actually lies on the island directly next to Outset, which is Headstone Isle. This is the home of the Earth Temple and a home of a bigger and darker secret. Now, when talking about the Earth Temple, there's not much of a connection to Outset Island. However, if the first theory is true about the citizens are connected to the royal family and the royal knights, that means that they could be watching over the Headstone Island where the Earth Temple was. But keeping in mind that both of these locations were on top of mountains, now they are just islands. This means that the Earth Temple would have been located on top of a mountain, and it would just be like the Skyward Sword counterpart, besides being on Death Mountain. The only other thing is, when it comes to the Earth Temple, we know that the darkness has already consumed it, but it was mainly a section for the Zoras. And there are quite a few questionable rooms that actually holds more of a mystery, such as the first room would be where the giant Redead statue would be. However, when talking about the Redeads, most people would instantly think of the Sheikah, since the Sheikah are mentioned within Ocarina of Time, and that the Redeads could be the guardians of the royal family's tomb. This would also make sense for the Earth Temple, since the Earth Temple is more or less a crypt. Now, the second room, which carries its own questions, is the room with the stage where the harp symbol is located. So this means the sage of old would have played here for some reason. Another thing it could be for was to open and shut passages with the sage's powers by using their instrument as well, since musical instruments are key items most of the time within Zelda games, which contains a magical property of some sort. Another thing is that this place could have been only accessed by the sage, where then they would have been able to hide the mirror shield, which most likely belonged to the royal family, since this mirror shield carries the Triforce symbol on it, along with two birds. Now, when it comes to the third room that holds more of a mystery, is the room with the giant mirror puzzle. Now, at first, this is just a room with a puzzle in it. However, when you look at the mirrors within the Earth Temple, they contain a figure of a scorpion, which the Sheikah and the royal family does not carry a symbol with a scorpion at all. And this makes me believe that these mirrors could be connected to another Gerudo tribe, since Ganon still carries the original Gerudo symbol, that the new Gerudos could have took over the Spirit Temple and perhaps finished the Forsaken Fortress, but then was kicked out by Ganon. But besides that, the Scorpion mirrors don't technically have a symbol on them to show that they are connected to the royal family or the Sheikah or even the Gerudo. They are just random statues that is within the Earth Temple, which doesn't really have much of a meaning. Now, the last room that I believe contains a mystery is the room directly before the mirror puzzle. Now, of course, this entire place is based on a crypt, so there are hidden passages, dead ends, and whatnot to confuse any thieves or any other people who found their ways within this temple. However, when it comes to it, this room doesn't contain much at all, since there was once a stairway that led down to the mirror puzzle, but now that there are vines on the wall that allows Link to climb up or down, and that for what I believe once held a bridge here for any past sages to make it to the room where they would pray to the gods. Besides that, there wasn't much meaning to this room, besides being a passage to the room where the sage would pray to restore the Master Sword to its full power. Besides that, I feel like that there's a bigger mystery here, since the room is so empty and it continues to go down farther than the mirrored puzzle, since there were floor masters and an eerie mist below, like something belonged here but no longer here at this point in time. So it just makes me believe that there was something here that resembled more of the Earth Temple, but now is just a empty hallway, which you need Medley to help you get to the main room to restore the Master Sword, which would be the boss room. Besides that, it didn't seem like there was much life here, since this temple no longer feels like an Earth Temple and feels more like a crypt and just contains more of shadows, something along the lines of the Shadow Temple. And on top of that, it is somehow connected to the royal family, such as this is the royal family's tomb. But why is it called the Earth Temple? And could the Earth Temple have gone by other names in the past? So guys, that will do it for this episode of Let's Talk Zelda. I hope you have all enjoyed this episode. Please let me know what you think down below. And this has been the Hyrule Historian. Thanks for watching, and please don't forget to leave a like or a comment below. So, I will see you all in the next adventure.